Hello. The latest film club is here, and it's Apocalypto, the Mel Gibson movie from 2006 with a cast of unknowns. He brought the Maya into the mainstream. Historian Roger Moorhouse and filmmaker Tim Hewitt join, so sit back and listen to us discussing Apocalypto. Welcome to the latest film club with Roger Moorhouse and Tim Hewitt. Welcome, Roger. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
Hello, Tim.
Hello there. Hi.
And today's movie is Apocalypto, which is a movie about the Maya and directed by Mel Gibson. We are definitely firm friends of Mel Gibson on this podcast. Despite his controversy, he is... I think we've done The Bounty, which he starred in. We've done Passion of the Christ, which he directed. Is there anything else we've done with him?
Gallipoli.
Yes.
The Bounty, Gallipoli, and the Passion of the Christ.
Yes, we're definitely fans. And although not of his strange conspiracy theories, we're not fans of.
Although I'm actually quite a fan of his film Conspiracy Theory.
Oh, are you? Yeah, I thought that was average.
It's fun.
Okay. Well, this is absolutely fantastic movie. It really is. It's called Apocalypto, as I mentioned. Made in 2006 or released in 2006. It's really, I'm not sure I'm aware of any other film that's covered the Maya civilization and after watching this film, the term civilization is used in its broadest possible capacity.
Oh, well, we can come back to that.
I'm jesting. Okay. Because it does have a bit of some archaeologists and historians have got a bit upset by the movie, as you know, as is their wont. Right. So this film it did really well. It, I think, cost $40 million to make, which seems a bit of a snip having seen it, particularly when one considers how much they cost nowadays. And it made 3 times that, so it made $120 million in the box office. So, I mean, that's definite success, isn't it, Tim?
Very much so.
Right.
Especially considering it's his second film that's in a very ancient language, and he seemed to have found a niche.
But that's a good point, actually. That does show that, you know, he doesn't treat his audience like idiots.
Yeah.
We remember when we did The Passion of the Christ, he wanted that without subtitles because he wanted the story basically to tell itself, which, you know, in images, I guess it would. And considering it's a very famous story, probably the most famous story, you know, you would consider this a big risk, considering there's essentially no named actors. They're non-actors for the most part.
Yeah, let's just quickly cover the cast. So Rudy Youngblood is our kind of hero, isn't he? Jaguar paw.
Yeah. Great chap.
Yeah, and so the story basically is a large city sends out its warriors to capture a whole load of slaves and sacrificial victims from a village not too far away, and they take them back to the city. And Rudy Youngblood, Jaguar paw, he escapes, and they chase him, and it's a sort of hugely exciting chase after that. That's basically it in a very shortened version. But
it's actually a very simple plot.
Yeah.
There isn't particularly anything, you know, there's no twists or turns in terms of the actual plot structure.
Yeah.
There are a lot of twists and turns.
Yes. Quite literally running through the forest.
It's a chase movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's chased by Zero Wolf. The names are just, I mean, I wish we had names like the Native Americans. They're much better than ours. But Zero Wolf is played by Raul Trujillo.
He is a Mexican actor, isn't he? He was in Sicario. And
he's American, I think. But you're obviously of Mexican extraction. Yeah. Yes, he's Sicario. He plays this sort of rather shady Mexican policeman in both Sicario movies.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say which shady Mexican
Yeah,
policeman.
yeah.
That's
Well,
all
he's
that's in
actually
it.
he is a good guy. He's I
Yeah.
say shady as in he's willing to sort of twist the rule book,
Right.
stretch the rule book or whatever. If that's not
Yeah,
makes sense.
ditto.
As with most of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I mean there's a very good middle eye is played by Gerardo Taracena, who is a Mexican
Middle
actor
Eye is
who's
very
in
good.
Yeah.
He's a
in Man on Fire.
he's a wonderfully evil character.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He's good at casting. I've always put Gibson alongside Kevin Costner in this sense. In when they direct their films, when there's a bad guy in it, they're such brilliant casters. They really cast absolute bastards, and they're just perfect for the role. This in particular, Gibson casting the Romans in Passion of the Christ. They're just so evil. Braveheart.
I always thought they were the good guys in the Passion of the Christ, actually.
Yeah, in just the Passion of the Christ, or in its historical context.
Well, I mean, I just think the fall of any classical civilization is a pity, and Christianity, I guess, begins
that process.
Yes, I suppose you can never. I've never seen Christianity that way. Okay.
Anyway, where were we? Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's the guy that always calls him almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dalia Hernandez plays Seven, his pregnant wife.
She's utterly stunning.
Yeah, she is super hot.
Proper, it's the native look that it's just fantastic. Every costume design, everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's well. Should we quickly talk about awards as well? How did it do in the Oscars? It did okay. I mean, it was nominated for 3, but none of them are in direction because Hollywood by now, I think, is maybe a bit sick of Mel Gibson. But
this was wasn't this pre?
It's
issues
incident. Yes.
Yeah.
But it is. It gets best makeup nomination, best sound editing, best sound mixing.
But he had done the Passion of the Christ, and I think that had caused a little. That had caused a lot of controversy. So they probably thought, he's off his rocker.
I think they do think he's a bit bonkers by now.
Yeah.
Don't they?
I think he is a bit bonkers,
but they do really well. And
they do. And technically, I was thinking about this. We could have done up until recently. We could technically do almost all of his films that he's directed on the pod. We've done the Passion of the Christ. This Braveheart is, regardless of how historically garbage it is, it's still obviously a real story. And then, of course, he did Hacksaw Ridge, the true tale of Desmond Dawes in the Far East.
That's a great film as well.
And that's as a piece of direction, I do think it's brilliant. I love the fact that it's the first half is essentially a Little House on a Prairie, and the second half is Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
and it kind of works in that juxtaposed. But then unfortunately his latest film is just utter garbage.
Is this in an airplane?
Yeah, and it's obvious that he's directed this for essentially the money to pay for his Passion sequel.
Jim Caviezel in the sequel.
Yeah, apparently so. But this is a true piece of adrenaline. I always thought that this is the kind of, if Mel Gibson could have directed a Mad Max film, that would have been really interesting. I still think that George Miller still basically is the one who shows everyone really how to do action. He still sets the bar. But I think Gibson has definitely got the knack for unadulterated fuel pump action sequences. And then this was interesting because he said, he really wanted to do a foot chase. And the reason why he said it when he said it is because if he'd done it in the present, he said, well, everyone would just get in a car. So that's really one of the.
It sort of pares it down, doesn't it, to its essentials?
Yeah, and it's yes, exactly, and it's it's just the ultimate feeling of survival. The jungle, the atmosphere, everything, the obstacles. He comes across. I mean, the fact that he comes across panther,
Jaguar,
the jaguar, yeah, which is
black jaguar.
maybe it's the only sequence I reckon in the film where it's a bit that he would not have got away from that.
Well,
We'll come to
He
those.
had
it's in the
someone
tree.
to-
It probably would have got him in the tree, or she would have got him in the tree. I'm sure because it's actually a mother.
a hugely thrilling
But
moment.
brilliant, quite nasty film.
I was trying to work out what rating it was. It must have been an 18 because
Yeah.
I couldn't tell actually.
It's certainly
Should we address some of those the criticisms that were addressed towards it?
Let's do it, Roger.
go.
So obviously there's Mel Gibson himself, who's, as we said, is a controversial character, and I think there's a body of film critics that will essentially cancel anything that he's done because of him. So there's a bit of that. Oh, it's Mel Gibson. And then there's a couple of sort of narratives that the specialists didn't like. So the one apparently some apparently. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My mind history isn't what it might be. I'll be straight up and I'll say that here and now. But I think the argument is that they weren't as violent as the Aztecs. And this was sort of a merging of a bit of Aztec history as well in portraying them as being, extremely brutal and violent. But then again, as far as I could see from my brief reading around this, it looks like people are saying, well, they did do all that. They just weren't as bad as the other guys, which seems to be rather a watering down of the argument. So
I think basically it's likely to be, depending on your political persuasion, where you stand on this movie. I mean, if you're a bit more to the left, you're probably going to go, oh, look, it's awful the way they show these Maya to be a bunch of savages all killing each other.
Yeah.
Because of course, they were a very advanced civilization, and that's absolutely right because it was a very advanced civilization.
Yeah, but see, this is where I was going to take issue with this is that I think that film actually portrayed, whether it's right or wrong, in its essentials, I think it portrayed a society that was still quite thoroughgoing and advanced and civilized in that sense, in that it was complex. But it still killed people, right? It was still brutal. You can still be brutal and civilized and advanced, and complex, and that came across to me. They weren't just savages. Yes, of course, they treated those the prisoners and the sacrificial victims abominably and killed them and so on. But to me, it showed a really sort of complex society. I thought. Which I thought was really interesting. So that old thing, like you said, the left wing thing. Oh, you're just portraying them as savages. And then the scene at the end where the Spanish arrive. These are the saviors, the white Western saviors. I didn't get that at all.
I didn't get that either.
I didn't get that at all. I got. This is the next chapter of shit that our guy is going to have to deal with, right?
Exactly. You're going to be wiped out in a second.
Completely. So I actually thought that was much more interesting to read it in that way, without all of this, projecting back of, imagined offense because you're sort of. It's like
I think you get that. Don't you get that look on his face when the Spanish arrive? It's almost like I saw it as, oh no.
Yeah. What the fuck?
The fuck are these people? What now? What?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm wondering if he'd made a film about the Aztecs, whether if this had just been about the Aztecs, the people would be like, yeah, but they weren't as bad as the Maya.
Yeah,
it would just be the same argument.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely, we could talk about hanging, drawing, and quartering in the wonderful civilized world of
completely
of medieval London, but.
And the Spanish weren't exactly not brutal to the people that they killed either. So I mean, Western society is just as brutal at this point.
And I think they do really show them as a pretty advanced civilization when they arrive at that, at essentially that urban settlement.
Yeah.
It's all very, I want to say sophisticated. There's market
I think that
schools.
Is the word. It can be sophisticated and brutal at the same time. That would be my point.
But I mean, terrifying as well. He obviously, was deliberately I think Gibson has a flair of and a love of the brutal, but also the haunting and the, there are a lot of haunting images
Yeah.
in lots of his films, actually, where things kind of go into a slow motion. He over cranks the frame rate and kind of makes everything, the sound design becomes quite atmospheric, and things go a little quiet and echoey. And that girl, the little girl in that
was
city,
a great scene. Yeah.
is pretty terrifying. It's verging on a horror film.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's interesting you say this, Tim, because I thought this, watched it again yesterday, and I got a whiff of Come and See, because you've got that sort of, the close up to the face, and it's kind of, and it's all, there's moments where it's almost sort of otherworldly in its presentation, like what you just described, right? And particularly that scene with them all, with all of the prisoners working in the quarry, and they're all white.
Yeah.
And all you can see is the bits where they're bleeding are the only bits that you can see. Otherwise, they're completely covered in white, and they walk through it. It has that otherworldly quality, which so remind me very much of Come and See, which is the same. It's like a nightmare. The whole thing is like a nightmare.
Yeah,
and
very
there
much.
was, I think there was a note of that in this, which was tremendously effective.
And that kind of depiction of with the fire, and I was thinking that this is Gibson kind of thinking, you're descending into hell, and you've got to, it's the old thing where you've got to brave hell to find paradise, which is interesting. It's coming from a film directed by Mel Gibson, who's very religious. He's a super hardened Christian, which actually is a little bit ironic that he's made this film. Depicts this ancient civilization and the gods that they worshipped, gods in inverted commas, from Gibson's point of view, and injects so much passion into the lead character's survival, the fact that he screams this very proud little short monologue about his father. This was his father's jungle, and it'll be my sons and his sons afterwards. And then the arrival of the Christians, which is essentially what Gibson worships, but depicting them as we think in a kind of all-conquering, it's sort of malevolent force that's about to come to this place. It's just an interesting film that it decided to make, considering his religious stance. But I guess all in all, we're all human. That's what I kind of get from it. It's
that struck me as well. I mean, I had that jotted down here, that there's tremendous humanity in it, and all of those that were objecting and saying this was, and essentially projecting back some sort of proto-culture war issue over it, given it was 2006. I don't see that at all, and I just see there's tremendous humanity there in all of its forms. There's that scene at the beginning where they're taking the piss out of the chubby guy that can't procreate. There's humor, there's love, and then there's all the brutality as well. Like it's got the whole range of human experience. So I really enjoyed it. I loved it the first time I saw it, and I loved it again watching it yesterday. It's a really good film.
It's on itv.com for any listeners trying to find out where to watch it. It really is. Just lingering on the Maya for a bit longer is that it did show little elements that reminded me the irrigation systems in the city, which only shows up very briefly, but I really like that he got that, and but that's one part that they were very clever at.
Ollie, you have a sort of special interest here. Can you just can you summarize your own experiences and your own knowledge into, what should we give him, about 3 minutes, Tim? About 3 minutes.
Well, I think it'll probably take about a lot longer than that, but I spent 6 months when I was 19 in Belize in Central America on 2 different Maya sites and visited a whole load of others. And So when
doing archaeology, you missed out the archaeology
as an
bit,
archaeologist, first with UCLA and then with the University of Texas out of San Antonio. So with Americans, Roger, and it was incredible. It was in the year after leaving school and then going to university to study ancient history and archaeology. And the first site I was at was called Xunantanich, which is right on the border of Belize and Guatemala. And it was a significant city, came under the orbit of Tikal, which is the famous Maya site, which you can see in the films The Return of the Jedi, when they take off over a jungle and there's a guy standing on a Maya temple.
Right.
That is Tikal. So it was a hugely advanced civilization, but yeah, the human sacrifice element was definitely prominent during our digs, particularly in the larger sites. I think in the lesser one that went to was called Blue Creek.
You mean that the human sacrifices, the evidence was
very much so, and there were other parts of it. So the scene where the sort of hunting party carry out their target practice, at their human targets, that looked very similar to a kind of, they played this game, the Maya, this kind of, it was a sort of weird form of football and
this game in
volleyball.
Inverted commas.
Sorry?
This game in inverted commas.
Yeah, it was because if you won, you got sacrificed.
Great.
Oh my God.
There it is. There it is.
Which, at least that was my understanding in 1995. I don't know if archaeological
because it was an honor.
Historical thought has evolved and now come to a different conclusion.
What incentive is there to win this game?
Well, that's why Southampton FC would win. would be have a full squad at the end of the season.
Right. Okay.
For those not aware, Southampton finished bottom of the Premiership. So,
so I mean, presumably because it was such an honour to be sacrificed.
I think,
that's the logic, right?
But the playing field in the movie was very similar to the one that I worked on at Xunantanich, and it wasn't too far from the main structure, the main temple. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these temples are hugely advanced. I mean, to build these things,
amazing,
in a part of the world where access to those kind of materials is not particularly easy, and you've got a huge amount of jungle in the way.
And didn't they have I think you can see them in the I think are they in the Natural History in the British Museum, the sort of sacrificial slabs. They're stone. They look like little stools, but they're essentially made of stone. And I don't know how, I can't quite remember what position. Maybe it's like in the film where they kind of get you down, and whether it's just decapitating or who knows, or stabbing or something. But they're kind of very simple little. They look like just little benches, and there's something extraordinarily horrific about them.
Yes. Well, also the tools they're using. I mean, they did a great job. A lot of use of jade, which was the valuable material, but also obsidian, which is the
all of the knives and daggers and stuff were obsidian, weren't they?
Yeah. Which of course,
no metal.
No, not really. I mean, they had a bit of gold, but not much.
But the Spanish bring metal.
Obviously, the Incas had a lot of gold, didn't they? I would recommend any listener who does visit that part of the world, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala. And I think the film is set in the Yucatan, which is the sort of at the south.
Sticky outy bit.
Yeah, the sticky outy bit, the Gulf of Mexico. Or is it the Gulf of America?
Gulf of America, I think.
And it was Gulf of America. It was shot in, it was essentially shot in Mexico. The extras on the Blu-ray are very interesting when the writer and Gibson talk about Gibson finding the ideal stretch of jungle, because he needed flat terrain so that they could obviously do the running, but also do the tracking of the camera. When you look at some of the behind the scenes, there's just a very convenient flat pathway through the jungle where the cameras can sit on, so you can get those great tracking shots of them just charging through thick, what looks like thick undergrowth, but actually, I mean, it is thick, but there's enough space for them to do their twisting and turning. And stunning. I mean, a really stunning place. Yeah. That they found there, and the village where our heroes live was kind of their base. So, you know, they just with all this camera setups and everything, but it is just thick jungle. Whereas today you probably think, and they'd probably try and do a lot of this in a studio, just to make it easier, or green screen.
Hello, Ollie here. Please forgive my interruption, but I wanted to let you know that at Aspects of History, we produce a digital magazine featuring articles, interviews, short stories and book reviews of the best historical writing available. Authors featured including Ben Macintyre, Lucy Worsley, Andrew Roberts and plenty more. An annual subscription is available for only $9.99, that's pounds or dollars. Yep, you heard that right. That's 6 issues for under £10 or dollars. Head over to aspectsofhistory.com to subscribe, where you can also gift subscriptions. Now back to the show.
Yeah.
I mean, the jungle is. I remember we had to hack a path through, and I think we got it took us about 2 hours to hack through about 20 meters.
Wow.
When you went out onto the site, everyone, before we got there, we all had a machete. You buy your own machete, which are not expensive. And you just hack through jungle. And then, you know, elements in this movie that are really fantastic, like the snake, which the snake we had to fear was the fer de lance. So we had an anti-venom kit with you, because if you got stung, particularly on the neck, like the guy in the film did, the nearest hospital that was of sufficient quality was in Miami. So that's a 2.5 hour flight from Belize City, and the jungle that we were working in was about a 4-hour bus ride from Belize City, and so you'd probably have to get a light airplane. But then it would take probably 2 hours to cool that out. Basically, you kind of, if you got stung in the neck, you're dead. Basically, you're dead.
You basically just do what the guy said and said, "Look, cut yourself quicker."
Yeah, that's probably what would have happened. So you had this syringe that would suck out your skin. You know, like it would suck out the flesh to extract the wound or the venom. It was you just didn't want to get stung, basically, and you know, scorpions everywhere. I mean, completely normal to see scorpions.
But jaguars. I mean, aren't they the only big carnivorous predator?
No. There's a smaller cat as well, and I forgot, ocelot, I think it was.
Right.
And there are a couple of others. The tapir, which is right at the beginning, is also known as a mountain cow, which I think was the national animal of Belize.
Well, I think it's quite interesting in the film that they, you know, and how accurate. It'd be interesting to know, like the way when they kill the jaguar, you know, that one of the characters says, you know, "Forgive us.
This is a curse."
Is it sort of revered as some sort of as a god like thing? So
it was always an incredible event if you saw, but you wouldn't really see the you'd see a flash of its coat, and then it was gone. You wouldn't really see it.
Pretty scary.
Amazing.
Well, they're not huge jaguars. They're not the size of a tiger, so
that's okay.
And they're kind of scared off by the sounds.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a, you know, it would be interesting also to know. I mean, my Mayan history is obviously it's non-existent.
Not what it might be.
Yeah.
Well, we're right at the end of there. I mean, the sites I was working on were more around 1000 AD, so about 500 years before this film's. I mean, they're right at the end of their. I think they're obviously showing this sort of starvation, isn't there? The maize crops are failing.
Yeah.
But I think the first Europeans who came across the Maya came off second best, actually. Guess what happened to them? They got sacrificed.
Good for them. They should feel very proud. Yeah, and it's in terms of its the film's design and I always think that sometimes Gibson does take a few liberties. We know this. I think he invented it, for example, in Braveheart. This is why I was thinking about this film. In Braveheart, Gibson was the one who came up with the idea of this kind of brace on the arm that had spikes coming out of it that could be used in battle, which of course it just didn't exist. But he went, oh, I just came up with this idea. And so I'm wondering, how historically perfect the costumes and everything are in this. I mean, they look pretty amazing. I love the guy who's actually doing the sacrifices at the top of the temple. Just really good, straightforward performance, absolutely believable, bloody scary. Lucky. I mean, how lucky are they that there's a solar eclipse at that moment?
Yes, I think that might come up in our awards.
Yeah, I was thinking myself that
and the Spanish showing up in the space of sort of 24 hours.
Remarkable
that's
bit
true.
of serendipity. But I mean, listen, to come back to you mentioned talking about the jungle. I mean, I think the cinematography is absolutely beautiful. For all its brutality, it does set off the whole thing. I mean, the life in the sort of bucolic life in the village before they start, life in the jungle, their captivity, and that sort of being led through hell as you described it before, and then everything in the city. I mean, it is beautifully shot. It's completely immersive, and I think even that, again, that sort of slightly controversial element of having them speak in what was basically sort of native, Mesoamerican, whatever the language was. Sorry for my ignorance, but something approximating to what they might have spoken 500 years ago. I thought that worked brilliantly well. I think that was incredible. It really worked fantastically well.
And I wish there would be more films that did this, because it clearly works. It clearly doesn't deter audiences. This was, I think, Apocalypto was #1 at the box office that year. It was Quentin Tarantino's favorite film that year. He has actually called this a masterpiece, which is it's a difficult term to apply to. It's often over exaggerated, I think, slightly, but it's a brilliant, for what it is. It's a brilliant piece of an example of adrenaline, primal filmmaking, and I think that there should be more films just simply with using whatever the native language is. Why not?
The other thing about the historians, I just want to quickly mention, I mean, is that if you're complaining about this, how often do you think Hollywood's going to make a film about the Maya?
Exactly,
I mean, you are complaining about this.
Well,
was it get really people interested?
How many people are going to be inspired to read a book or just show an interest in Mayan history because of this, or because of an academic's rantings against it? Which
was it really controversial? I mean, I know that we're talking about some of the controversial things that I know because of Gibson, and all this stuff and I think he's been forgiven, by the way. Now I think he's back in the mainstream. But
Trump's appointing him as one of his Hollywood envoys, isn't he?
Yes, along with John Voight. It was this that kind of.
Well, I think in Maya historical circles, yes, but yes, in the wider sort of society and wider culture, not really. I mean, no. I think it's a kind of judgment on a film like this can be applied to any film showing a historical sort of civilization that is not of us, if you see what I mean. And there is that sort of age-old criticism that I find a bit dull. Oh, you're only viewing it through a European 21st century lens. This is you have to appreciate them as they were. I mean, I think that kind of misses the point, really.
But I think the film does that. I mean, I don't want to, in a sense, sort of cede the territory on that. But I think the film does do that. It does see them through their own eyes.
Right. Okay. Well, should we do our awards?
Yes.
So just one thing: the child who is disease-ridden, and you've mentioned her already, Tim.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean,
was that smallpox on her
that's
face?
A good question.
Because it's a bit early.
Yes, didn't smallpox?
I found that quite heartbreaking. I mean, it's really tough, that bit. I found her, she's so adorable.
Yeah.
And it was like you're really pushing the emotion here, Gibson.
Pushing buttons there.
And
yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant, but it's a tough section.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think smallpox was one of those, this famous Columban exchange. Wasn't that one that Europeans brought with them?
Yeah.
Along with
that's a good point. Yeah.
So maybe it travelled from elsewhere. Who knows? Anyway.
Or maybe it's not. Or maybe it's not smallpox. It's just some other, disease.
Because Columbus is 1492, isn't he?
Okay, so maybe it would. Yeah, he is. That's true. So maybe it's already there. Yeah, very possible. But again, that scene is very indicative of that whole, society on the brink of, a civilization on the brink of absolute collapse.
Like the beginning, the quote right at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Which we haven't touched on, and I think that was something that Gibson was really keen to sort of tell that story, and most likely with one eye on the present, or at least maybe both eyes on the present. But it's all about crops failing and probably climate change as well, and all the rest of it. And you can see that as a sort of theme throughout the book. Like you've got her. The disease of her, and she there's a couple of lines that she says, I didn't jot them down, which are kind of quite, like this is all going to happen to you or something. It's that sense of impending doom, isn't it?
And of course the title.
And the title, absolutely. So that's one of the sort of main threads all the way through the book, through the film, right? And then of course you get to the end, like we said, and then you've got the Spanish. It's like, oh, there's the next level of shit that you've got to deal with is going to be. Violent colonization.
Yeah, the two guys who go out to meet them, they're basically going, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure they're very nice.
It'll be fine. Yeah, we can front this up."
I mean, actually, and it's an interesting because the log line on the cover of the Blu-ray is "No one can outrun their destiny." Now he gets away from his attackers, but is that referring really to this civilization's a goner?
Well, the common cold's going to get him and his family, likely. I mean, that's the disease was the thing that.
Yeah, actually, it killed many more people than
the sword.
The sword, exactly. Put it that way. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, let's kick off with our awards then. But so best, I mean, there are so many fantastic scenes in this.
There are. I was just jotting them down. I've got set piece scene, and then I've got like 8. They were all so good.
Well, so probably the raid, the first raid. Have you got anything earlier than that?
The raid is good. The prophecy with the old guy, that was I thought was really quite chilling. The sacrifice, obviously.
Sacrifice, of course.
That scene where they with the girl that we just mentioned. Again, quite a short scene, but really quite sticks in the mind. Same thing I would say for when they walk through the quarry and everyone's all of the workers are all covered in white. That I thought was pretty stunning. The sport, what I've jotted down as sport killing.
Target practice,
Target practice. That's a great scene as well, to be fair.
I thought that they were insanely accurate, these.
I was about to say that they've obviously they've practiced a lot because at the end of the bloody field is the burial ground. Strewn with bodies. They're pretty good at that.
I was thinking, was there a way of doing it? Because even our hero gets hit. So is there a way of doing it without getting hit? Was it running backwards so that you could see when your arrow's going to get to you?
Well, I think doesn't he
zigzagging running backwards?
Yeah. Doesn't he do?
They zigzag.
He do a zigzag,
but not. He doesn't try running backwards. You see,
no. Well, I'd love to watch you doing that, Ollie.
Slower, but you might.
So you come round to my place. We've got a nice long garden. You run backwards in zigzags, and I'll throw things at you, and we'll see if it works.
And in fact, when they're chasing him through the jungle, they pretty much use bow and arrows and miss.
Yeah.
So you'd think, hang on, this is what you've been practicing for.
Well, open ground versus thick foliage.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
Maybe this is one of the sort of plot holes, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it as it's not a glaring plot hole.
And then obviously the chase through the
Black
jungle,
Jaguar
chase is I mean it's I would
I
say
guess
the chase is
you could
just
call it the chase, the
Yeah.
whole lot. Yeah.
So
And
so
actually,
so much. So
the
much.
brief scene with the Spanish coming, I thought the monk with the cross.
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
Oh
So
dear.
how are we going to pick all that apart?
Should watch The
I,
Mission after this and make a good double bill, I think.
so
And
I mean
you know when he jumped off the waterfall,
yeah.
I remember watching it for the umpteenth time for this, and I thought to myself, no, jump off the waterfall. It's fine, because I remember learning in geography the bottom of waterfalls are always deep. And then one of the guys gets hit, and I was like, oh,
stoves his head in. Yeah.
maybe is that why I didn't get a very good grade? I'm messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
I did like that when he swims to the shore and he sort of shouts up to them, whatever his phrase, I'm Jaguar Paul, whatever. Basically doing a big sort of FU to the people that are following. And then they start jumping down, and you can see him go, "Oh shit! I'd better start running." I thought that was a hilarious
Actually,
scene.
and there was another bit that we haven't mentioned that I thought, when it happened, I remember thinking, "Ooh, I wonder why he's stuck this in." Remember his wife in the pit with her child, and obviously she's pregnant, but she witnesses an animal fight at the top, and one of the animals falls in, and she kind of goes up to, and it suddenly just jumps at her.
Yeah,
it's an ape of some sort, a monkey.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, what's the purpose of this? Is he trying to subliminally compare? The whole notion is that it's even animals. We're all animals.
Yeah, we're all animals, and we're all going to kill each other.
And we all fight, and that's the way it is. Because I was thinking, what the point was? It just to add some suspense to her situation?
Maybe I'm being frightfully simplistic here, Tim, but I saw that and I thought straight away, okay, that's dinner. I mean, he's just explaining how she survived.
Yeah, you see, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, she was down there for what? I mean, we imagine a week, 2 weeks, maybe.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a few days.
Well, I mean, whatever it was, but to me that was just that's.
Well, actually, you sort of can figure out
how she survived.
How long? Yeah, I thought it was a few days, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what are we going to settle on for our...
reading into it then?
What are we going to settle on for our best scene?
I thought the raid on the village was very strong. Ditto the sacrifice. I thought that was really good.
I think the sacrifice is kind of the apart from the running through jungle, a lot of people. Well, I remember when it came out, I had an American friend who was like, "Fucking brutal, man! Fucking heads being chopped off." and it
does show a sort of layers of society as well. There are sort of elites, aren't there? So, and the sort of masks are just fantastic. The sort of devil mask, and I mean, you see inscriptions in these sites of fantastical faces, heads. Which one, I guess, is where they got the idea from the masks from. But I mean, I would say it would either be this or the target practice scene, because there's a lot of tension in that.
And it's sort of Mel firing on all cylinders with his action camera. I mean that's kind of pure filmmaking, and so I kind of think, for what it is, some sort of chase is kind of the essence of the film. So I kind of would probably agree with that.
Okay, so target practice.
Okay,
great. Right, next, most inaccurate scene.
The solar eclipse.
Yeah, must be. I mean, is there a astronomy person who will, because you can calculate when they happen, can't you? If you're that way trained.
And they happened. I mean, it's not that the moon went in front of the sun. That's unlikely.
Happens in it's Tintin
unlikely,
book as well.
Yes, that's true. It does, isn't it? Shooting star.
The one with the Inca in South America, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
When isn't he about to be sacrificed himself?
That's true. he's just nicked this from Tintin.
Yes.
I mean, it's the coincidence, I guess, isn't it, of it? It's not the fact that it happened. It's just
yeah.
that was very lucky. Otherwise, the
Stroke of
film would have
luck.
turned out completely differently.
Stroke of luck. Stroke of luck. Okay, so we'll probably go with that. Alternatively, I mean, I don't know if the sort of Spanish arriving like that. I mean, they did arrive eventually. We'll go with the.
It's
let's
more.
go with
Is
the
that
solar
more
eclipse.
symbolic?
Yes.
Not necessarily that they turned up then and there.
Yeah.
No, I think it's solar eclipse. I think we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. Right. Best performance.
I thought I thought Jaguar Paul was really good. The central guy. I mean, his the way his facial expressions could be so expressive, whether it's fear or whatever. He was really, really expressive. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I also loved the bad guy.
Yeah.
Middle Eye, the evil.
Middle Eye's brilliant.
He was grimly horrible. And there's that wonderful scene where they chop the guy loose who's kind of dragging them down. They're all locked together on the pole and they're going down the cliff. And then one of them, he sort of almost pulls them all off the cliff. And then he cuts him loose. And then the big guy comes and shouts at him and says, "Oh, so you're in charge now, are you?" Right?
Yeah.
And his face, from being like the top dog, having just killed this guy, cut him loose and basically torturing these poor captives. And then the big man comes and tears him off a strip. And his face there is brilliant because his face he becomes absolutely meek. And so I thought that was a lovely bit of acting as well. So that, to me, it's got to be one of those two.
Do we not have best performance and then best supporting?
We do have a best.
We do. So we could do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do think Middle Eye. I think Middle Eye would make a great sporting coach because he really did motivate those guys to move.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to do that sort of motivation anymore, Ollie.
Yeah, I think
that's more the sort of thing we had at my school.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing of being, them being captured and taken back to the city all reminded me of doing cross country back in the day.
Yeah, it was just the assault course, really, wasn't it?
So who says we've evolved?
Exactly.
And Middle Eye's, when the guy dies and the one guy tries to take his ornament and he's like, and he takes it and he's like, no, he would have wanted me to have it.
Yeah.
It's terribly modern.
Yeah.
I loved Zero Wolf though. I loved Zero Wolf.
Oh, Zero Wolf's great.
Yeah.
Doesn't he has a sometimes I have thought that some of the I don't know what obviously the original phrase is, but sometimes the translation is what does he say when they're walking through the and they're cutting down the trees and Zero Wolf says something like, "I'm walking here."
Yes,
it's like this. It comes out of Midnight Cowboy.
I thought exactly the same thing. I'm walking here. Exactly. It was just Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Let's try and make it as modern as we can.
That was funny.
He probably said something like, "This is my path."
What are you doing? I'm walking here.
Yeah.
A bit of mistranslation there, yeah.
That was wonderful.
Fantastic. Okay, well, so supporting, you want to go Middle Eye, not Zero Wolf?
Middle Eye. I think Middle Eye's amazing. He's really
well done, Middle Eye. That's Gerardo Taracena, who
he'll be delighted.
Muy bien.
He will be very pleased.
Muy bien, exactly.
Right. So now I think we're left with two more. One of which is, what if Tarantino had made it?
Overly verbose.
Yeah, there'd be a lot more dialogue, wouldn't there?
Sassy dialogue, yeah.
Well, we say that actually, but then he's done his action set pieces, like the car chase in Death Proof, where it was purely visual. So he may think, no, I'm gonna do a full on chase film with nothing but images. But I don't know. He loves this film, so
I mean, it almost feels quite sort of Tarantino-esque, doesn't it? I mean, it's quite violent. I know there's that thing about is he actually violent or not? It's quite violent. There's a lot of sort of set pieces to it. Yeah, it's got elements of that in it. It's hard to see how much it would be that different.
Yeah, I like the fact that he admires it.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
an interesting category.
It's difficult to. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm sure he could find a role for Tim Roth,
Samuel L. Jackson,
Keitel, or Sam.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Legacy rating. Now, I think in the Maya. I mean, I can't think of another film involving the Maya.
No. And if you are, if anyone wants to, a quick primer on life in pre-Columban Central America, can you think of anything else? There isn't. So surely it's got a huge legacy to it.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend listeners visit that part of the world.
Yeah,
and
because you've made it sound so
there's
welcoming and safe.
There is well, when you're 19, you're willing to take more risks. So it's but when there is this extraordinary site called Lamanai in Belize, which is you can't get to it by road. I don't think. Well, you probably can now, but back in '95, you could only get to it by boat, and it was this site on a river, and it was just so beautiful. It was just heart-rendingly beautiful as you arrived, and you had to get to these. The boat is arriving very early in the morning, the kind of mist rising, beautiful in the jungle. Amazing. So okay, legacy rating, going a bit carried away there. Legacy rating, so 4 out of 5, I'd say.
Yeah, go with that. Yeah.
Well, that's been great. Thanks very much. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was great fun. Great film.
Great film.
Thanks so much for listening. Links are in the show notes. Please share with friends and family. And if you want to get in touch, you can through X or email history@aspectsofhistory.com. But until then, thank you and good night.